She was once the face of unstoppable Hollywood glamour, an Oscar winner, a global icon, a woman who seemed untouchable under the spotlight. But today, something feels different. The appearances are quieter. The energy feels more distant. And the woman who once owned every red carpet now seems to be living in a completely different world. And what's happening behind that silence is not what most people think, because this isn't just a story about fame fading. It's about something far more human and far more difficult to watch. But what really happened goes far deeper. Catherine Zeta-Jones was never just a celebrity. She was a force. From the moment she stepped into Hollywood, she carried something rare, a presence that didn't ask for attention. It demanded it. Chicago didn't just make her famous. It made her unforgettable. The Oscars didn't just reward her. They crowned her. And for years, she stood as a symbol of perfection, beauty, talent, success, and a life that looked almost unreal from the outside. To the world, she wasn't just an actress. She was a dream. But dreams don't tell the full story, because behind the red carpets, behind the flashing cameras, behind the carefully controlled smiles, something else was quietly forming. Something the world didn't notice at first. A shift, a weight, a pressure that fame could never fully hide, and it would change everything. Before Hollywood, before fame, before the world knew her name, Catherine was just a girl from Swansea, Wales. No industry connections, no Hollywood roadmap, no safety net. Just talent, and something even stronger, conviction. At a young age, she stepped onto small stages, performing in local theaters where the audience was small. But her presence was already massive. By her teenage years, she made a decision most people wouldn't dare to make in a lifetime. She left home. Not for comfort, but for uncertainty. London became her first real battlefield. Auditions, rejection, competition, all while she was still becoming who she was. But she didn't stop, because something inside her already believed she was meant for more. Then came the breakthrough. Television audiences in the UK noticed her first. And it didn't take long for Hollywood to follow. The Mask of Zorro changed everything. Suddenly, she wasn't rising anymore. She had arrived. Entrapment showed her versatility. Traffic revealed her depth. And then Chicago turned her into something else entirely. An Academy Award, a global spotlight, name that didn't just appear in credits. It dominated them. She had reached the top of the world. And from the outside, everything looked perfect. But perfection is often where the silence begins. Because while the world saw success, Catherine was experiencing something far more complex behind the scenes. There were periods of extreme energy, where everything felt possible, where work flowed effortlessly, where she could carry entire productions with ease. And then, there were the opposite moments. Heavy silence, emotional fog, a sense of exhaustion that had no clear reason. But in Hollywood, there's no space for slowing down. There's only one direction, forward. So she kept going, smiling in interviews, showing up on set, holding everything together in front of the world. But internally, something was becoming harder to ignore. And still, no one saw it coming. In 2011, everything shifted into public view. Catherine Zeta-Jones made a decision that shocked Hollywood. She checked herself into a psychiatric facility. And not for exhaustion, not for a short break, but for bipolar II disorder. Just like that, the illusion of effortless perfection cracked. Suddenly, the woman who seemed untouchable was facing something deeply human. And the reaction was immediate. Some called it brave, others called it dangerous for her career. And many simply didn't know how to respond to it. All because Hollywood had never been comfortable with honesty like this, especially from someone at her level. Bipolar II isn't what most people imagine. it doesn't always look like chaos. Sometimes it looks like productivity. Sometimes it looks like confidence. Sometimes it looks like success. And that's what makes it so difficult to detect. Even for the person living it. The highs feel like clarity. The lows feel like invisible gravity pulling everything down. And for Catherine, the realization wasn't just medical. It was personal. Suddenly, moments from her past began to make sense in a different way. The intensity, the exhaustion, the emotional cycles. No one could see. It wasn't random. It had a name. And naming it changed everything. But it didn't fix everything. There is a myth about recovery. That once you seek help, everything becomes stable. But life doesn't work that way. Catherine returned to work. She returned to life. She returned to the world. But the reality was more complicated. There were better days. And harder days. Moments of strength. And moments of quiet struggle. And in 2013, she made another difficult decision. To step back into treatment again. Not as a failure, but as maintenance. Because this wasn't a one-time battle. It was ongoing. And learning to live with that truth became its own kind of strength. What makes Catherine Zeta-Jones's story so powerful isn't just fame. It's honesty. Because behind every public image, there is a private reality no camera ever fully captures. And her story forces a question most people avoid. How many people around us are carrying something invisible while still showing up every day like everything is fine? Maybe more than we think. And maybe strength was never about appearing unbreakable. Maybe it was about continuing, even when you're not. Today, Catherine Zeta-Jones isn't defined by one chapter of her life. Not by fame, not by awards, not even by struggle. She is defined by continuity. By showing up. By managing what most people never see. By living a life that is real, not perfect. And maybe that's the part people miss the most. Because the strongest people aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who keep going while carrying what no one else can see. So the question becomes, how many stories like hers are still hidden behind the people we think we understand? And more importantly, what would change if we actually saw them? If this story made you think differently, subscribe. Because sometimes the most important stories aren't the loudest ones.